All right, I'll call this Monday, December 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Grafton Planning Board to order. First thing, we have to do a roll call. Who's going to do the roll call?
I can.
Okay.
Hold on just a second. I got a text from Fiona saying that she can't hear us. Are you hearing us now, Fiona?
Yeah, all set now.
Okay.
So on Zoom we have our associate member Ray Mead
Present.
and our staff Fiona Coughlin,
Present.
and in the room Mike.
Present.
I am here, Dave,
Present.
and Mr. Hassinger.
I'm here too. Okay, at this point, we get to where we have a chance for public input. If anyone has something they want to say to us about something within our purview that's not otherwise on the agenda tonight, this is your chance. Raise your hand, either in the room or on the web. I don't see any hands. Moving right along. Fiona, explain to me about 2A versus 6A. There was a note, and I wasn't quite sure what you were saying about taking, I think it was taking 2A now or later.
Oh, yes. Well, it was just an option for the board, how they want to, however you wanted to handle it. If you wanted to do the request for the determination of minor modification now, or if you wanted to do it, during the hearing or wait till the hearing is closed. I don't know what procedurally is better.
It's not really a hearing, is it? Is it a meeting?
This is just an action item. It pertains to the Tufts project, but I was thinking it probably makes sense to open the hearing and then vote, but I don't know if it actually matters. Maybe Natalia knows
But,
something that I don't, but
I don't know about open the hearing's been open.
right, not open the hearing, but
Saying
you
getting
know what I
to
mean.
the hearing.
But-
The problem is we're gonna be vamping, I think,
Yep.
until that point, but, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like we ought to be in the hearing when we take
Yeah,
action
I would agree.
that's related, if I'm understanding it correctly.
Yeah, I actually never dealt with this particular situation before, but I think just out of an abundance of caution, yeah, wait until 7:30 when we continue the hearing for Tufts. I think that might make sense.
There's pretty much no chance of that being a problem. There's maybe a small chance of doing it the other way. So, that brings me along to the release of surety for the ridings. You want to tell us anything first, Fiona?
No, I think the meeting materials pretty much cover this. There's already a bond, or sorry, a tripartite agreement in place that the board voted on at a recent meeting. So now there's two forms of surety that are covering section one. There's no need for that. As long as there's some sort of some surety in place, then the bond with the number PR 2748930 can be released. So there's already the protections are in place, and we just don't need to have both a performance bond and a tripartite agreement.
Yeah. As I recall, at our last meeting, I think it was our last meeting, we approved the tripartite agreement, and we recognized that the bond that has been in existence prior to the tripartite agreement no longer needs to be in place, and so we said, well, we'll put it on this meeting as an action item so that we can vote on it.
Correct.
Name, rank, and sir. No, yeah, you have to tell us who you.
Yeah, Steve Benincasa, from the Ridings. Yes, we had a tri-party agreement on the Westboro side, and we didn't have enough room, so we did a bond with Grafton, to cover the first phase, and then we got a reduction in our bond in Westboro, so now we had extra room so that we can incorporate a tri-party agreement with you. So we have the same tri-party agreement in Westboro, and now we added phase 2 with your bond together, so now we have phase 1 and phase 2. And then we did that with the intent that we would get the bond with the insurance company released, and that's what we asked for last week, and we're asking for you to vote on it this week.
So Fiona, we're okay doing this. Is that what you're
Yes.
telling me?
Yes. Yes.
We're
We're fine.
I will move the board approves the release of the initial Section 1 performance bond in the amount of $210,000 as shown in our materials for tonight.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Questions? If not, roll call.
All right. Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
I vote aye, and Mr. Hassinger.
I vote aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, I have a couple questions for you guys. One, is that bond, the actual bond itself with the town treasurer, which typically is done, but I don't know if you have
I
different.
haven't a clue. Fiona will tell you. If anybody knows.
Natalia.
Yes. Natalia's raising her hand, but yes, that'll be the bond will need to be released from the treasurer collector's office.
Okay, so I can come in and get from the treasurer. Okay.
Yes. Natalia, can you just follow up?
Yes, so first we'll issue a release memo or a certificate and give you a copy as well as the treasurer collectors, and then you can arrange for picking it up with the treasurer.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to be in touch with
Okay.
our office,
Okay.
I guess.
How long should I wait before I do that? Tomorrow? Friday? Next week?
Probably Friday. I will be in touch with you, and like I said, I'll give you send you a copy of
Okay.
that release, so you'll be all set with that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good.
All set?
Okay.
Okay.
You can
Thank
stick
you.
around if you want, but
What's that?
Yeah, yeah.
you can stick around if you want.
Might. You got anything interesting cooking?
No,
Too bad.
we're changing some rules.
Make it easier, of course.
Okay, that, I guess, brings us to discussion item 3A, subdivision rules and regulations. LID, updates 2025. What discussion do we have?
Sure. So, Mr. Chair, I uploaded a document to the meeting materials that outlines all of the final markups and changes that have been done over the past 2 years for the subdivision regulation for this project. They've been tracked in the sidebar, and you can see the dialogue that's gone on between staff members, the consultant team, which is VHB, and board members. And VHB has been going through incorporating all the comments received and is ultimately going to be responsible for helping us basically draft the final document, which this is really honestly where it's how far it's going to get. They do have the changes tracked in red line there. So it's nothing really significant in terms of, major overhaul of how we've been doing things in Grafton here, but it is, there are some interesting changes that we're trying to incorporate to move in the direction of low impact development and try and reduce our stormwater and runoff from new and current developments, as this is all part of the MS4 permit. The town is required to regularly review our regulations, including the subdivision regulations, our zoning bylaw, amongst other, our local stormwater permit, amongst other things. So we have VHB as the as our MS4 consultants. So they helped us draft this. Last time we discussed this was over the summer. We did receive some comments from board members, incorporated them. I think all of them were incorporated without any issue. I think there was one comment that we may want to discuss tonight. Dave mentioned not needing to include a sentence in the red line document, but you know, and that's okay. We can do that. I did respond, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the project or any comments in particular. At the end of the document, there's a compiled list of changes that were made. So if you're looking for a summary, the appendix F, I believe, at the end of the document does summarize everything that's been done through 2023 till now.
As I looked through it, I was trying to be sure that I caught any policy changes. And I don't think I found anything that I'd considered a policy change. I've moved some stuff around here and there, you know. between
Yeah,
the-
no
between
significant
zoning
no
and-
significant policy changes. There was a lot of discussion, I think, at the beginning of this process about evaluating the use of porous pavement and pavers and those types of things. But after discussing with DPW and fire about the feasibility of implementing that at the scale that we originally wanted to, it wasn't going to work because obviously their equipment and apparatus need to be able to operate and plow, and you know the roads need to be weight bearing and accommodate their vehicles. So there was a bit of a back and forth, and we ultimately decided not to pursue that aggressively. But no major policy changes, more tweaking, recommendations, suggestions for best practices, kind of more along those lines.
I did, you know, I came to a place where I noticed the term cluster development, and I poked around. I'm not sure whether, no, you can tell, I've forgotten where it is, probably in the zoning, where we tie our flexible development to being whatever, a form of cluster development. I'm not sure whether the term cluster development was defined in the old or now it popped up to me as being there. I guess maybe it's been there anyway.
Yeah, my suggestion on that particular sentence in the proposed subdivision rules, I would suggest replacing the term cluster development with flexible development, because I think that seemed to be the clear intent, that was sort of to add a mention in the subdivision rules that we encourage the use of flexible development, which is in a sense it's redundant with the zoning bylaw, but I think it doesn't hurt to sort of reemphasize that within the subdivision rules. But I think that was really intended to refer to flex.
Right, but rather than using, I think it's important to, or at least it would be nice to look at all the places we say cluster in both the rules and the ZBL, where we say cluster and where we say flex, and be clear what those mean. I think cluster comes from the state law, doesn't it?
I don't know
It
off the
originated
top
in
of my
state
head.
law.
Well, if you want to.
I think there's various terms: open space, residential development, flex, cluster. I don't know I think it's flexible as in the state law. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, basically in the zoning bylaw, we define flexible development with reference to the concept of cluster development that comes from 48 section 9. But we pretty consistently in the zoning bylaw we consistently use the term flexible development. We do relate it to the cluster terminology there.
You know, So either it seems like someplace there should be a thread back from where any place we say cluster that leads a person back to
Right.
what we are talking about.
In the current subdivision rules, the word cluster appears exactly once,
I know.
that prior to this proposed modification. And even there, I think the point is well taken, Bob, that it should be, terminology should be consistent and kind of all related back. The concept of cluster development in the zoning bylaw has been somewhat superseded by open space. I don't off the top of my head remember whether the term cluster is still there, but yeah, that's just something that you do want to be consistent and clear when these concepts are being discussed.
Sure. So I'll add a definition for flexible development into the subdivision regulations and replace anywhere where it says cluster with flex so that it aligns with the zoning.
If that works, I think that sounds right.
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
It's
Okay.
capitalized when we say it, so we know
Yeah, that's a good catch.
It's a thing, not an idea.
Perfect.
Okay. Anything else?
A couple of minor points. One comment is I had in the PDF that was distributed as part of the meeting materials, I could not read all of the sidebar comments. Because a lot of them are, particularly when there's a lot of comments on one page, the comments tended to get truncated. And so I
Okay.
couldn't read all of the commentary.
Oh, I see. What's the word? Oh, okay.
In the form of a Word document, it would be much easier to read all of the comments. And that would give, there were a couple of places where I was unclear where the discussion ended up because I couldn't read the entirety of some of the comments.
Okay, yeah, Natalia, we really need to be looking out for that when we upload. I had no idea. So, yeah, that's a tough situation. So more or less, and I don't know if the board wants to discuss this later, because you can't really see the dialogue, in the meeting materials, but the only kind of outstanding, all of the changes were incorporated, and I know that Dave had submitted a pretty great commentary over the summer. All of that was double checked, included, and then resolved in the document. I know you can't see that, but that was addressed, and the only thing was there was a comment that Dave had left about not needing to necessarily call out that the town is trying to encourage more cluster or flexible development style subdivisions because we already say that in other areas. I did respond saying I don't believe it would hurt to have that sentence in there just so it's clear, when developers are reviewing the subdivision regulations and they see that, it drives home the point of like we're trying to continue to obviously provide housing opportunities but also preserve open space simultaneously. So
And I agree with that, by the way. I agree with including it,
okay.
which I thought I sort of implied with my earlier comment about cluster and flex, but whatever. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I think that was the only comment that was not since this document was presented, since the summer. I think Dave's red lines you can see, and those are all addressed, and then that was the only outstanding comment.
So a couple of other things. One, and this is perhaps partly because I could not read in all of the commentary. There was some discussion around town driveway regulations. And it appeared to me that the text referring to driveway regulations is currently in the document, and yet the commentary that I could read said we don't have any driveway regulations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that, yeah, I don't know how, where that ultimately is going to end up, and you don't necessarily need to answer that right now, but
I think we have a rule.
I mean, we have,
Two about driveways is
we have
500,
common
900.
driveway, we have common driveway regulations.
Yeah,
But
maybe it's common.
there's a reference to just generic driveway regulations, which seem to be a reference to regulations that are not part of the subdivision rules, but that are just general town regulations for driveways. And at one point, Brian's comment was, we don't have any. So that's, that may, and that may have been fully discussed in the parts of the commentary that I could not read, I could not see. So that's,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure where, how it ended up the way it did or why. And like I said, I don't need to, I don't necessarily need to know where we're going with that right this minute. I would like to mention one or two other things.
Dave, can you just tell me what page you're looking at? Because I'm trying to follow along with what I need to make notes of what you're, where you're looking.
It was in section 4.3.7. I couldn't tell you what the page number was, but my notes
you.
have it by section number.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that there was at one point driveway regulations, but they need to be updated. And I think this language has been included in the subdivision regulations for quite some time. So I think we
Yeah.
decided to keep it just to be consistent with, I have not seen updated driveway regulations since I've been in Grafton, but
Yeah, that's right. It's in
DPW probably has their own.
the current subdivision regs, it's 4.3.6, and it refers to the town of Grafton driveway regulations, which if we don't actually have any, we may want to,
Have
we may want to not point people to things that don't exist.
Well, we have some, don't we have a rule about how close you can be to
We have some rules about
the
that,
corner of your lot?
Yeah.
Or,
but we don't have anything, the town does not have anything, DPW does not have anything that's called Town of Grafton driveway regs, as far as I know. Natalia's hand is up.
that may still be up from before.
So from what I remember hearing, they passed the driveway regs. They were never incorporated, but the highway did incorporate them into their application form. So that's where they exist.
Okay, that, I think that answers my question. I wasn't clear about that.
Good enough.
So, moving on, a couple of other things in the proposed, that's probably in the existing one as well. Section 4.9.1, it says sidewalks shall be at least 4 feet wide, and at least in the cross-section diagrams, there's commentary from Brian that says it should be 5 feet.
That should have been updated.
So 4.9.1 should be updated to say 5
4.
instead of 4.
4.9. Okay, I see it. Oh, good catch, Dave.
And let's see. And this is the point I want to kind of highlight for the board. In 4.12.1.6 on common driveways, the proposed revision to the regs suggests that we currently say that a common driveway can serve 3 lots with single-family homes or 4 dwellings in 2-family homes. And the suggestion in the proposed revision is to change that to 6. So that would say 3 lots, 3 single-family homes, or as many as 3 2-families, which for a total of 6. And that is at least a minor policy change. I want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that I noticed, and I want to make sure the board is aware of that, and the board can decide which way they want to go with that.
I think maybe I'd like us to look at that a little more before we do too much with it. I'm not entirely
So
clear.
that's something you want to think more about.
My only question on that one in particular would help sway me on one way or the other is if fire or police had a safety related concern to that change. I don't know. It
So
would
So it seems like the suggestion is that a common driveway can serve up to 3 lots.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the lots can contain either a single-family home or a two-family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, from one perspective, yeah, it's the same number of lots. From another perspective, it's more dwelling units, and is that an issue for us?
Right. Yeah, and the fire did review this and did not have any issues, and this was flagged before, and they did not have any concerns.
one sudden thought to say on that one point, Dave, is this might be further complicated by the ADU law.
That's what I was about to ask about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the interactions are, and I'm not sure my brain is ready to
Yeah.
figure it out between now and
3 lots
7:30.
up to 2 families each, so that's 6 people, and then possibly 3 or 6 more ADUs.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Who knows how many, because special permits,
Yeah.
who knows? Oh.
Mhm.
Okay, is
So,
that all, Dave?
That's the only commentary I had. Like I said, and if after this meeting, the board has an opportunity to more completely read through
Mm-hmm.
the commentary, that might answer some questions or might raise new questions.
And
Okay, so we can take this up at another meeting. We are shooting to try and have the subdivision rules and regs done in early 2026. I really would like to try and get it done by February. If, just for the board's own, because we do need to start, we do have a contract with VHB, and we do need to start moving on the zoning updates as well. And I just wanted to kind of do one thing at a time, but just so the board is aware, I mean, we do have time. And I do understand that obviously the PDF truncating the comments has made review a little bit challenging. So yeah, that's fine. We can talk about it at another meeting before we have a formal public hearing on the changes.
And the other question I wanted to ask, is how does this set of regulation updates relate to the MS4 permit, where the discussion around the roadway cross sections says that we're kind of waiting on the MS4 permit to tell us something about the green infrastructure that we might need. So do we need to wait for that before we finalize these
No.
regs?
No.
Do we expect to further update the regs once we get better definition on the green infrastructure?
Yeah, I mean the cross sections, which are the images at the bottom of the document that Dave is referring to. There's some comments there about not fully updating those because we do not know if the state is going to be coming out with best practices or suggestions on what green infrastructure to incorporate, and kind of if they will be producing imagery or whatever. And so VHB had recommended kind of waiting to update the cross sections, but the language in the text is reflective of what the permit will be asking for. So at least the regulations and the narratives in the regulations will be updated. The cross sections we're just waiting on because they're a little bit more complicated to update. And quite frankly, I'm not, I don't know if I need to consult with a firm that specializes in making these types of things, or if it's something that VHB can do in-house. It didn't seem like it was something they could do. And just rather than, I mean, if the state is going to be making things available for the public, and towns and municipalities to use. I think we were planning on just waiting until we get a little bit more guidance.
I guess I was partly wondering was whether anything other than the diagrams might be impacted by things that have yet to be published or yet to have come out.
Yeah, so I'm not an MS4. I'm not very well versed in MS4. I know enough to be dangerous, but VHB is the town's consultant and has been for many, many years on MS4 specifically, and they have been working with us for the past 2 years on this and have not raised any red flags or concerns about the draft permit significantly overhauling or contradicting anything that we're proposing here. It's all moving in the direction of lid anyway.
Let,
So
let's be aware that it's not that hard to change these rules. Move ahead, get what we want done. When new needs surface, maybe we won't wait quite as long as we have. Of course, we always say that, don't we? But we'll, you write something up, you put out a notice, you have a meeting, a hearing, and you say done.
yeah,
And now there's probably a lot less printing and a lot more uploading a file to the internet, isn't there? So why don't we see if we can do that, okay? And I thought those drawings were lovely. I will say, I agree with Dave about I couldn't figure out about the comments, but the PDF came up on my computer much more readable because it was a different piece of software that is more civilized. Preview instead of
I'm not sure what
Word.
happened. It was very legible when I checked it, but
was
well, I'm looking at
very-
it in the meeting materials and it doesn't, you can't see.
Very what?
And some of the threads are quite long because it was discussion over 2 years of
yeah.
what to do, so.
No, I get all kinds of columns, and then I try Pages on the Mac, and it's better, but it's different. Okay, that's all we have to do until now. It is
7:34.
Yeah. So on
Seven.
subdivision rules, Fiona, are we looking at continuing this discussion, essentially trying to complete this discussion at our next meeting and then schedule a public hearing?
Yes, that's the plan. I want to give the board the opportunity to see the full document with all of the
That would be
comments.
good. But
And the public as well. So, yeah, we'll discuss it again at the next meeting. Nothing will change between then and now. It'll just be a revised document that's legible. So, apologies for that. I did not catch it before the meeting.
okay.
enough on that for tonight.
Definitely. Okay, we're now down to our hearings. I'm gonna start with, 6B, which is, the, proposal for a child care center at the church. We're using the church. I believe that we got a request to withdraw with,
Without prejudice.
without prejudice, which was in our materials.
And for the millions watching at home, without prejudice is meaning that the applicant could resubmit effectively tomorrow if they wanted to.
Yeah, there's a different, it's a different form, if you don't do if it's with prejudice, then
They have to
you
wait.
can't come back for some period of time.
Yep.
Is there any, we might wanna have a motion to,
I move that the board grants the withdrawal without prejudice.
Second.
moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Apparently not. Roll call.
Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Did you say what you voted?
I voted aye.
Motion carried unanimously. Which brings me to the continued hearing on Jumbo's Path, 7 Jumbo's Path, Tufts. And also, and with this, we have action item A, 2A, which is a determination of a minor modification of the amended master plan pursuant to section so-and-so. That's the master plan for Tufts, right? Not
Yes,
the
that's
master
correct.
plan for
Correct.
Grafton,
That's correct.
which we've heard a bit about, some of us lately. Why don't you tell us who you are and tell us, well, Fiona, is there anything you want to say before?
Yes, I can handle the intro for the minor mod. So the board might recall at the last hearing, there was a formal request to review the expedited classroom extension, that is the project before the board, for this public hearing, the Learning Center, review that change as a separate detached facility, and phase construction as a minor modification to the 2021 amended master plan. Originally, the Learning Center was going to be conjoined with the nearby hospital there, and they were going to be built next to each other and on, I believe, on the same development tract. But there's slightly different changes, obviously, that are being proposed through this project. And under section 9.6, Tufts is requesting that the board vote on evaluating those changes as minor, and then we'll file the requisite paperwork with the town clerk. Just we want to make sure that we're kind of following the paper trail correctly and following all the procedural requirements of the zoning. So it's just part of that section.
Perhaps
So I'm
we,
happy to answer any questions.
perhaps we should make that determination now before we move on with the hearing, the rest of the hearing. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
What does anybody have to say about it?
I'll make the motion that based on the draft I have in front of me, that we approve the change in development plan from a combined hospital and classroom expansion of the building known as 40A and 35A to a detached learning center within 200 feet of the original location, located at 200 Westboro Road, Jumbo's Path, North Grafton. Also to approve the phased development to allow accelerated construction of the classroom expansion ahead of the hospital and clinic expansion, and find that the development is consistent with the amended Grafton Campus Master Plan 2021.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Natalia's hand is up.
Natalia?
Would you make mention that you are making a determination of minor modification?
So amended
What did she ask for?
that I'm explicitly saying it's a determination of minor modification.
Oh, okay. Does the seconder agree with the?
Yes.
All right. We'll consider it
At
amended.
least this seconder does. I think we both
Rumor has it
seconded
the
it
seconder-
simultaneously.
Dave, you can be the second on that one.
Okay.
Good. Is there any discussion, any comment from anyone? Roll call.
All right, Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Which brings us to the overall plan. Fiona, are there any, just to get me started, are we left with anything open that we need for this?
No,
You
Mr.
know,
Chair, I
I've
think
seen
that
the
we're,
reviews and the answers to the reviews of the material and so on.
There was one tiny comment, I think, in Graves' second review about the sizing of the stormwater chambers. I did in the draft decision, I just included that as add those details in a final plan set to be submitted to building and planning prior to a building permit. It's a really small construction detail.
But we don't need to do something about it tonight. We didn't.
No, well, I think the board,
Am I gonna be able to say, let's have a vote?
yeah, that's a minor detail and nothing to be concerned about, and it's accounted for in the decision, so we'll get that information. Tufts team did connect with fire and talked through proposals or options rather for the access route. The revised plans with the preferred option were uploaded into the record, so they have full access around the building perimeter. So that was cleared out, and there was a couple of public comments, but from a staff perspective, in terms of waiting on any materials or any clear, closing out from the peer review process or waiting on plans, we're all set on that front. There was, I believe, two comments. One comment submitted into the record from a member of the public, and I don't know if anybody is in the room, but there might be commentary there. But
We have one person in the room. I saw a comment about native species and so on, fairly lengthy. Interesting. I wish we got that input all the time. It came up in a conversation with my wife today as we drove up past the North Grafton Library area and the trees there, and how they were not a good choice so many years ago. Whatever they are, pine trees. Okay, so
Fiona, did you share that with Tufts, that public
Yes,
comment?
I was just going to chime in. This is Liza Perry from Tufts University. We did review that comment letter today about plant species, and I have noted it for the whole team, and we will take the recommendations into advisement on our plant selections.
Thank you.
doesn't change our decision. Right?
No.
Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself and say hello?
Hello, I'm Julie Farrer from CSL Consulting. I'm the owner's project manager working on the Cummings Learning Center.
Pretty promptly got the changes and all and responses done.
Yep.
More than we see sometimes.
No, that's good.
Okay. Does anybody up here have anything at this point?
As long as the fire, that I talked to Fiona about that today, just as long as that they decided on that option with the fire department, that makes
Yeah, we're the fire department's happy, right? Okay.
Good evening. I'm John Stevens. I am here as a citizen of Grafton, although I am a member of the Tufts Advisory Community Committee and have been since day one. I am a member of the Historical Commission, and I am the chairman now. I'm a member of the Historic District Commission, and I will take full responsibility on this, but I was not aware that this was going to come down until Saturday. This had been discussed last fall at the last meeting, and the discussion that I remember was that it wasn't imminent, it wasn't happening this soon, and as I always say, you need to reach out to Mass Historical, because there's a Section 106 review for any kind of projects that affect state funding or federal funding, state permitting, federal permitting, because this property is on the National Register of Historic Places. All that being said, again, I'm here as an individual because the committee, the historical commission didn't have an opportunity to discuss this, and I'm really disappointed that this building's coming down. I'm disappointed that this has happened so quickly and that nobody reached out to me. I've understood that Mass Historical has not gotten back to somebody at Tufts. I called and talked to, it took me 30 minutes, but I got to somebody today at lunchtime. But I'm on their committee. I'm on Tufts committees, and they know I'm representing the historical interests of the town. If anybody, and they've reached out to me before for questions. Why nobody reached out to me if they can't reach Mass Historical, I don't know. I think the problem is this building is gone. Unfortunately, it is a unique building on the campus that all the other buildings, for the most part, are brick buildings. This is more like a lodge that you'd find at a camp in New Hampshire. It has a round rock foundation and either clapboard or shingle siding. So it has a very different character and feel. It's a very visible building. It's right on Route 30. And I know at the meetings they discuss buildings that they want to take down. The Swine 2, which was a building off in the back and had lots of problems, even as bad a building as that was. And I was concerned, and I said, can we get a walkthrough? Can we take photographs? Tufts said they would hire, and they did hire somebody to take photographs to document the building. So I will ask, has this been done with this building? To preserve, to keep a record, to have a record of this building, because it's gone. I know it's the last hour and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do except for say I'm really disappointed that this happened and I was not aware of it. And somebody from the public brought it up to my attention. And another concern is that this is multiple buildings that have come down, and it's a pattern, and that obviously, I mean, they said at the meeting they don't like historic buildings, they cost money to maintain, but they're important, and that was part of when they bought the campus. These were historic buildings, and it's on the National Register. So you have to be a steward of those buildings, and not everything can be saved. But they want to take down all the buildings on, I think it's Captain O'Brien. They've already taken down one, and when this comment was made in October, I to myself thought, okay, I'll let those three go, but I want to save the police station because that is a very unique and distinctive building. Whereas I think some of those other buildings at the homes had been moved, so that you lose some of the historical significance of them when they are moved. But you have to pick and choose, and this was what I was gonna. This is what I had hoped to save and come up with a better alternative than tearing it down, because once it's gone, it's gone.
I don't begin to know who has what rules or regulations.
There are no, for what they're doing, unless they're, and they've stated that there are no state or federal permits or funding tied with this. And that's when there's a Section 106 review, which requires them to go through Mass Historical. Then Mass Historical will research the project and see and make a determination.
But you say they don't have to do that
because of those federal and state thresholds they're not affected by this.
So is there anything that we can do about it except let you?
I would say I would love to know. Have a list of because I've tried to work with the town's building inspector to get demolition notices so I can at least run out and take a picture. And for the last 6 months, I have still not gotten that. So communication is difficult, and you try and you try and you try, and but to have a list of all the buildings that they want to take down, so we have a good list, and then we can say, okay, I agree with that. What about this? Let's see if we can't work around that. Because again, you have to pick and choose your battles. I know certain buildings aren't going to suit their needs, and it's like everything. Every building is expensive to maintain, whether it's new or it's old. But to have a list, and then also when they do take down these buildings, to make a commitment that they will work with the historical commission. They'll reach out to the commission, and they will document the buildings before they take them down.
You say there's a whole list of buildings in Grafton
if, for their buildings that they want to take down.
No, I'm saying just, I'm thinking generally, if there is a list of all the buildings that are designated, then,
There are only a dozen or fewer buildings in Grafton that are on the National Register, which is the highest standard. But the National Register is only a good keeping seal of approval. You could still tear it down tomorrow.
but you're looking for, I think you're looking for more communication and opportunity to know, or, you know, heads up, something's happening.
Right.
If the planning department has a list of the building, knows what buildings are
If I'm not
subject to your
mistaken,
concern.
there's a GIS level that has historic stuff on it that may or may not be accurate. That was always a plan, and I don't know that that has happened.
Well, I'd like to see a written list, but in any case.
There's a 3-volume set of it has historical and architectural information, but it's only a documentation of those buildings. It's not that you cannot modify them. It's just a record so that it.
I'm looking to the future and saying that if the planning department was aware of a sensitivity, they could have made sure that you folks knew. In the future.
Can I just jump in quickly?
Yes,
The headmaster.
well, I wanna, he can't fix this one, but I'm trying to help him in the future. But go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say two things quickly. And one is that I think I heard John say that the building was down. The building is not down.
No, I didn't say it's down.
We're
It's
in-
coming down in January, from what I've
Yeah,
been
in
told.
February. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a few weeks.
And this is the process we're going through now. And I just want to say that we did look very hard at the options for not taking it down and relocating the buildings, but just related to all the things that are underground and various other choices. I'll go into the details. That's the reason why in the end the building has to come down to accommodate the new building. But this was sort of a decision that was made this fall after a lot of discussion. But we will make sure that the building is appropriately documented, and we're happy to follow up with you on making sure that that happens.
Do you know if the Locust Barn is next on the list of buildings to come down?
No, that the Locust Barn is not on any list to come down because there's no intent to put anything there. I can't guarantee that building doesn't end up coming down on its own, of course, because it is, as you know, an all wood building, but there are no plans at this time to take that building down.
Okay. Back to Bob. In terms of there's the capacity to have a GIS level with all this information that we have to be input. I don't know that it has happened or not. This is from when Ann Morgan was in town, so this is old. But that was the hope, and I don't know if she was able to do that or if somebody else has done that, because I don't use it.
Yeah, the Mass Historic has an online database, MACRIS,
Right.
which lists lists all of the properties that they have any information on, including, and they're noted whether they're on the state register or the national register. There's quite a bit of information that is available online.
Right, but what Bob was saying is locally to where, because that's what we can't even get the district, the building inspector in the town to follow the rules of the district. And it's 20 buildings, so for the whole town, that's a big ask.
So what may be missing here, if something's missing, is that the development team, the people involved in reviewing developments, should make a point of any proposed development, checking its relationship to historic buildings.
Correct. That would be appreciated. Not that we can save it, but at least we can document
So
things.
so at least being aware, and from the developer's point of view, being aware that, there is the historic consideration. And this kind of goes beyond the topic of the public hearing, but as something for future consideration. And I think, Fiona's probably listening to this, and taking notes. And
Could you think, Fiona, that you could communicate this to the appropriate levels to?
Yes, we will continue to coordinate. And I know I believe we had a discussion last year about adding the Historical Commission and the HTC onto our just general email blast. So I'm not sure what happened. So I apologize about that, but we're able to confirm John, because John is now the new chair of the Historical Commission, right, John?
Correct.
So yeah, you're on now. You're definitely going to get all the email blasts going forward. And I do have that GIS layer up on MapGeo, so I can see the Macros database with the XY coordinates, and the district overlays are on there. So I don't know when the last time it was updated. It's probably a little bit
Does this building show on?
laggy. Yep. This building's on there. It has it's within the what is it? Sorry.
It's a thematic nomination on the National Register of State Hospitals. So they did, I think, as it's statewide, several state hospitals. So it's not just individually. It's as a.
What I'm trying to figure out is, if
Right,
somebody
it's-
looked at this resource, they would have known that the building we're talking about needed to be looked at.
At least ask a couple of questions. Yes.
The building and the district are inventoried on the National Register in Macros, and then also on our GIS. But as John was mentioning earlier, unless certain triggers are met for review, there's not a lot of leeway. And my understanding was that MHC has been a bit difficult to try and get feedback from. In terms of, and honestly, coordinating with them is 9 out of 10 times they're saying that it's a finding of no adverse effect for the most part. And I think that's been the case with a lot of state hospital properties. But yeah, I think it's unfortunately it's the triggers for review aren't being met, and also if there's difficulties with coordinating with MHC as well. Not saying that that's not blaming anybody or anything. It has been challenging just from my recent experience with trying to work with them as MHC as well. So, but we will definitely be making sure our communication is stronger going forward.
You might want to be communicating to all the known members.
I'm in touch with Fiona. I mean, that's so it's not like I'm a stranger.
No, but what
to a
I'm
lot of
thinking
these
about is
people.
someday someone's going to forget to tell someone that the chair changed,
Right.
or whatever, and if we're sending to everybody on the commission, then
Yes.
it increases the prospects for.
People being made aware of it. And just another thing that relates to this, and sorry to keep going, that we are working with Central Mass Regional Planning Commission on proposed demolition delay bylaw for Grafton, which fingers crossed, the town will approve, that it won't be too stringent. But if we had something like that with this, we would have been notified that the building was, they pulled a permit to demolish it. So we would be on notice, and then we would have an opportunity of 60 days, 90 days, whatever, to work with them to do whatever we needed to do, rather than at the last minute say, hey, you're tearing the building down tomorrow, can we come in and look and take pictures? Which I know that's the wrong way to do it.
Well, when that finishes and something comes to us, maybe you'll be back to talk to us about it.
Okay, right, because it'll have to
getting
go to
it-
town meeting.
Getting it taken care of.
They're supposed to finish it this last month, so should be soon. So, Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything more?
I do not.
Does anybody else have anything else we need to talk about here? I don't think so. Maybe we would like to close the hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. The meeting is closed unanimously. And we have, it just says discussion
This is a
on
draft decision.
PPR 2025-03 Tufts Learning Center. That mean we can't vote on it tonight?
No, we can.
I believe we can.
What's the
Well,
question? I'm sorry.
Can we vote on it,
Okay,
Fiona? Yes.
this stuff, let me see.
On
Natalia?
the draft decision?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
The agenda does mention decision.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you say so. I think that's something I asked about.
Yeah,
Okay,
application
well,
and draft
We
decision.
have a draft decision. You think, Fiona, you think the draft decision is what we need? Nothing's come up to change anything.
I think based on the discussion just now, I think if the Tufts team want to do, I think I'll include some language that any changes to the landscaping plan to do more native species will just be considered a field change. And I don't think it's necessary for them to have to come back unless the board would like that. But that's pretty standard when you're out in the field, kind of making those adjustments. And we're happy that the Tufts team is doing that. So I think I'll just include a sentence if this is agreeable to the board to just allow them to kind of factor into the commentary from the public meeting about the more native species.
Okay.
Works for me.
And I believe that's all. I mean, I will need to incorporate a finding just to capture John and the Historic Commission's comments from this evening. So, but that's just housekeeping item. And other than that, I'll just make a note about the vote of the minor modification
And there's
in the decision.
there's an exhibit called out for Greg doing a Mullen, but since he's not here to vote on the decision, we won't need that.
Right. I will take that out.
So I
Are we, oh, no, we're not ready. Go.
I had a couple of nits.
Oh, no.
Essentially spelling errors. I can either go
I
through them
think
or
the motion could include,
I can communicate those to staff outside of
So
this discussion.
I move that the board find favorably on all findings, grant all waivers, and approve the decision as drafted with amendments as discussed already, plus any spelling and minor grammar adjustments as Mr. Robbins will suggest to staff.
is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
And Mr. Hassinger.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
You and Fiona will figure out whatever
Yeah.
needs to be.
Yeah, and Fiona and Natalia, I will send an email if I don't forget, promptly
Yeah,
after I
that's
get
fine.
home tonight from the meeting with I think there are four little things, essentially, I think they're all basically spelling errors.
Okay.
No, certainly nothing substantive, but I'll send that off to you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dave. So Tufts, I will try and get this done as soon as I can, hopefully by tomorrow, but it may not be until this week is obviously very challenging. So, early next week, would that be a problem it's it's essentially a site plan approval, so you don't have an appeal period or anything like that.
Yeah, that's
So it's
fine
insane.
with us, Fiona. We can be in touch.
Okay,
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that brings us to staff report.
Okay. So, we did get awarded our, 2 district local technical assistance projects. So thank you, CMRPC and Fiscal Development Committee for the awards. We're very excited to start the permitting guide and continue the flexible development research. Once we kind of get through the Christmas holidays and the new year, we'll start jumping into implementation of the master plan in earnest. There'll be a call for volunteers and kind of start setting that up, setting a schedule and coordinating with the select board about getting that committee assembled. I did have a prior intern do some research about the best way to kind of handle the compilation of that committee. So if the board has any suggestions, I am of the opinion that a committee that's really, really big is very challenging to work with because there's quorum issues. And we saw that, I think, a bit with the master plan working group. So I'm not trying to, I guess, I'm trying to focus on kind of having, advertising for subject matter experts for each of the chapters at the very least, and hopefully not exceeding that because that's already a good chunk of people. Because originally the master plan working group was 27 people, and then I think we ended up having at the very end there
11, if I remember right.
11. I was gonna say nine or 11. Yeah, 11. So we're trying to kind of make it a workable group, but we're excited to start implementing the plan. Other than that, business as usual. Trying to just get coordinated with kind of the longer range projects and kind of prioritizing what we have coming up. Grant deadlines. We're looking at Mass Trails grant with the Blackstone Valley Heritage Corridor for the Blackstone Bikeways. So they approached us and asked for some assistance with grant writing. So I will be helping them out there. Looking at drafting RFP notices for the feasibility study for Fisherville Mill, as well as the final permitting work for the Fisherville Dam. So that's on the grant front, looking at discussing with Paul Conoyer about submitting a complete streets application for sidewalks along Millbury Street from Hudson to Crosby to kind of connect to that the Safe Routes to School sidewalk installation that was done a few years ago. So just got a lot going on, always busy, trying to kind of prioritize in the new year and create kind of like a running list of all these bigger projects because there's been a lot of stuff coming up lately. So yeah, happy to answer any questions or talk about anything specific.
Apparently not. All right.
I'll have to chat with you sometime about master plan implementation.
Yes.
I've got some ideas, but we don't need to go over that tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Correspondence. Anything in the correspondence? I take it not. So that brings us down to reports from planning board representatives on town committees and CMRPC.
Nothing special for me.
I have nothing.
As it happens, I was there at CMRPC. Since I'm on the committee that decides about the DLTAs,
Yes.
we had a 2-hour meeting. We had presentations for 22 applications, including Grafton's. Grafton's name was floating around within a couple of the other projects, I think, where there's 3 or 4 towns involved. So, we funded all of them to the level that was requested. It's really a great, the DLTA is really a great program. It's sort of working as seed money in many, many ways. A number of the projects that we approved, this X dollars, triggers our ability to get 10 times that
Yes.
from, whatever other source. So, everybody was pretty happy.
good.
Even, is there anything else? I don't think there's anything that could lawfully come before us.
And I'm not about to make a motion to continue the meeting past 10. Instead, I'd be delighted to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. It's not debatable. Roll call.
Mr. Palermo.
Aye.
I vote aye. Mr. Robbins.
Aye.
Mr. Hassinger.
Aye, we're out of here. Thanks, Fiona. Feel better.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Talia.
Thank you, everyone.